Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to talk to you a little bit about our topic today, the email engine for big senders. I was going to shout big because it's all in capitals, but I decided to spare you that. But yeah, we will be talking about Mail Pro today. So we're really excited to start that conversation. My name is Christian. I'm an account director for the Spotler Group, and I've brought my very talented colleague Ed onto the call as well, who's one of our senior professional services team. Ed is going to be running the demo, the bit that you're all excited to see at the end, once we've been through just a little bit of content here. So just a tiny bit on our agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about the product suite and kind of where the tool we're discussing fits within that. We're going to be talking about a targeted, automated approach for big senders. So how do we make our content feel targeted whilst also automating it so that we don't have to spend every second of the day replying to emails one-to-one, which is not a scalable option. We're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to use captured data to update user journeys. Then Ed is going to run the demo of Spotler Mail Pro, talk a little bit about the automated journeys. Then we'll take any questions you've got and we'll look at our next actions. So a little bit about the Spotler Group. We have about 4,500 customers, 300 employees across 6 territories. We send about 13 billion emails a year, very securely, as you can see, and have our advanced marketing suite, which looks something like this. At the 9 o'clock position, you can see Mail Pro. That's what we're going to be talking about today. That's our enterprise email and SMS offering. So we want to talk there, the key kind of features of that high volume, high speed approach. If we go to the other side of the suite, we have Spotler Activate, which is our web personalization and CDP tool. So this is going to let us do our abandoned cart, abandoned browse, talk about social proof, forms being laid on the site, capturing, enriching data, and making sure that people have a consistent digital journey across all of our channels. So we can connect that also to Google AdWords, Meta, and make sure that we can drive those conversions on the site. Spotler Engage is our social publishing tool. We also have a CRM and a Connect tool to make sure that all of your systems can talk to ours. We have Send Plus, which is our transactional email and SMS service. And then we talked about Mail Pro and Mail Plus, our SME email and SMS marketing automation suite. As I say, today we're going to be focusing on Mail Pro and functionality that's native to that platform. But there's a couple of kind of concept pieces that we want to talk about first. So we're going to talk about data, automations, and customer experience. So again, as the starting point in Mail Pro, everything is fast, high volume sending. So you can have your your massive campaigns running out all the while that people are getting all of their automated emails at exactly the time you want to, so that the testing that you're doing on time of open, what time you want people on the site, and so forth, can all be implemented as quickly and effortlessly as possible. Today, we want to talk about planning the conversation that we want to have. What do your contacts need to know about you and your offer, and how can we do that in an automated way? We're going to talk about data enrichment a little bit. Is there more we'd like to know about them? And then also mapping our journeys so that as people do add more data or interact with our content, then how can they move out of a journey and into another? So in Mail Pro, we have the concept, everything, all email addresses go into a database. So you will have your large amount of email addresses, they'll go into a database, which is where all data goes. We then have the concept of groups. So grouping is putting people into buckets, into silos, into groups, into selections of email addresses based on what we know about them. So what we want to do is make sure that people are getting the right information based on their grouping. So if we take the example of somebody who, if you're trying to sell tickets to an event, we want to group the people differently who have just signed up and done nothing else. We want to treat them differently to the people who have looked at the site but not purchased. And again, treat both of those groups differently to people who have purchased. So what it's going to allow us to do is to unlock a massively improved customer experience journey by thinking about this as we're holding all of our email addresses in a database and we're going to put them into groups. Again, this is going to be part of our mapping the conversation that we want to have with them as they go through the journey. So in the customer lifecycle stages, we're at our awareness point. So we've been given an email address. This is just the intro. This is, if it was a face-to-face meeting, this is them introducing themselves and telling you their name. So how do you want to start that conversation? So there's a fantastic opportunity for here from a customer experience point of view. So you can introduce yourself. It may be that you have a specific goal or journey in mind as people give you their email address. One of the things that we see a lot of success with is in that first stage, using it as a tool to introduce yourselves, why you're trusted, why they should be working with you, and a little bit of information. Is nothing worse than kind of a batch and blast approach in what should feel like a one-to-one conversation. So having just a journey that you're going to get them through. How do we make that feel more like a conversation? And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about more now. But point one, how do we want to start our conversation once they've given you their email address? As we look at the automations, they they can be run in different ways, as you can see from the screen grab there. You've got them starting on a fixed date. You've got it starting periodically, so a birthday, a purchase date, a renewal date, um, or when somebody is added to a group. So remembering when they meet a data criteria and get added to a group, or based on a specific date in the database field. So when they hit a certain date, so you can start the journey there. But Ed's going to talk a little bit about those ones. Let's take the example of a one-stage welcome automation. This is better than nothing. Someone gives you their email address and here's nothing. We don't want that at all. So stage one is having a one-stage welcome journey. Again, you could have that as an introduction piece. Here's who we are. Here's the service we offer. Here's the value that we offer to you. Then there's a level up from that, which is a multi-stage journey. So not trying to inundate them with every single piece of information right at the start, because they may not read it, they may not scroll to the bottom. They want to get their key piece of information and move on. So we take the example of an immediate trigger. 48 hours later, we're following up with something else. And then maybe 48 hours after that, we're following up with the final piece of the journey. But what if we take the ticket example again? What if somebody updates or interacts with the site in a certain way? And let's take that middle example of a set three-stage journey. We've sent our initial one, and then we send our follow-up. Let's say me as Christian, I've gone onto a ticket website, I've seen it, I've given my email address, and then actually half an hour later, I come back with a cup of coffee and I'm, do you know what? I'm going to book my ticket now. If I've gone to book my ticket, actually the journey that I'm on has changed dramatically. If we take one that's just set and forget, for example, welcome, and then the next email in the journey might be, we host events. We'd love to see you at one of them. And I'm thinking, as somebody who's bought my ticket, that's very interesting because I've bought my ticket. Perhaps my ticket purchase hasn't gone through. Perhaps there's been some confusion about what I've ordered. Actually, what I'm introducing is anxiety to the person that I'm sending to. And again, it takes out of that feeling of conversation and moves it into it's just a set and forget program. If I then get my follow-up again after that 48 hours later that says, hey, we do other events, you could come to this one and it's the one I've booked onto, again, it's detrimental to the customer's experience as they go through. So what we want to do, if we take that ticket example again in the optimal way, and what we're going to show you how to achieve in Mail Pro, I sign up, I give my email address to the ticket company. I get a welcome email that says, here's who we are, here's why we're trusted, here's why you should work with us. Now, the journey's been set that 48 hours later, another email will be sent. However, what Mail Pro is going to do is look at the interactions and it's going to see that I have purchased my ticket, and it's going to move me out of the standard journey group and into the purchase journey. And I'm going to get different content based on that. So I might get an email that says, we're so excited to see you at this event. Thank you so much for booking. Here's the people you can look forward to meeting. Arrive at this time. Any questions, reach out to these people. We've moved to that stage of conversation. We can also use that then. Now that we know that, we could use our third stage of that journey instead of a generic one. We could say, we'd love to know more about you. Is there information so that we can be of the most use to you, that we can target you with the best content for you? Please fill in this form now. So we've gone from a set and forget that actually is detrimental to the customer experience to one that is constantly looking and updating based on interactions, taking it from that automated standard approach into more of a conversation and acknowledging what they've told us, which can only add to our trust growth with our base. So we can then get to the point where we're excluding people from getting the wrong content and making sure they're getting the right stuff. I've talked for way too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Ed to show us a little bit about how this plays out in the platform. Ed, were you all right to take over the screen?
Yeah, perfect. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just share my screen.
And I should flag at this point, if you've got any questions, after Ed's done the demo, we're going to go to a question time. So yeah, just fire those in and we can answer those at the end if questions come up as Ed's showing you through the tech.
Yeah, of course. So as yeah, using that welcome journey is a really good example to show you how the sort of groups and contacts are held in the the platform's database here for Mail Pro. So what I'll do is I will create a new automation here. Give it a name. So this could be the welcome journey, as we said. So the first thing I need to look at here is what group do I want to sort of use to sort of trigger this journey or this flow. So you can choose more than one group here if you wanted to. So if you did want to use multiple groups where maybe you have different opt-in levels or something like that, they will go into different groups. You can sort of pull all of them into this journey, or you can create automations for those specific groups. So in this example, I've just got my subscribers group, so I'm going to use that here. And then, as Christian mentioned, there are different ways to sort of pull someone into the flow here. So the one I'm going to be using today is the as soon as a contact is added to the group option. So basically, a new subscriber. So they weren't in the platform previously; they weren't in that group, and they've now entered in. They might have signed up through a form or be pushed in via an API, for example, but they've landed up in this group. They are a new contact, a new subscriber. I want to pull them into this welcome journey. Below that, I can say whether they should be pulled in multiple times or not. So if, for example, they unsubscribed and then they resubscribed, can they go into the automation again? So if you offer a discount for first-time subscribers, you might not want them to redeem that again. So the platform will monitor if someone's already entered that journey previously, and depending on this rule here, you can sort of choose them not to enter again if they try to get the discount again. I'll click on continue here. That'll then load me into the automation builder. So it's a really simple builder. So on the left-hand side, I've got my options I can sort of drag in. So the first one I want to do really is I want to basically say, if someone's in this welcome journey, I don't want them to receive our normal marketing newsletter because I really want to focus on this welcome journey. Once they've finished the welcome journey, they can receive our normal week. But whilst they don't want them to receive that. So the first option I'm going to include here is the group action. So I can add that in there. I can then say whether I want to add them to a group or remove to a group. So I'm going to do add to group here, and I'm going to create a new group specifically to hold them in whilst they're going through the welcome journey. So we can do a new subscriber here. I can create that group. I can connect the two together, and then as soon as someone signs up, they also get added to this group here, and they're going to be held until they finish the welcome journey. After that, I could add in a wait time. So if you were maybe uploading the data through an API and that data is getting pushed in nightly at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't want them to receive that email in the middle of the night. What you can do is you can wait until a time, and then actually you can say, I want this to be triggered at 9 a.m. the next day. So they'll receive that first email at 9 a.m. In this instance, I'm going to say actually it's a sign up form. So as soon as they sign up, they'd like to receive that email immediately. So I can drag that in there. I'm then going to connect these two together. So as I said, they're added to that group to hold them, and then they receive that first email. On the right side, I can say which email they're going to receive. So number 1 there, that's that first email. After that, I can add in a wait time. So maybe we want to wait for 3 days there before they receive the second email. But as Christian rightly said, if they've already made a purchase, we don't want them to receive that second email. We want to change the sort of the tone and the language we're using for that customer because they have already purchased. They're not a prospect anymore. So I, might build a second journey linked to a specific group to target them. So what I'm going to do here is the check I'm going to make is matching a filter. So I can drag that in here. A filter allows you to create some rules and have it look at any particular group that you'd like. So we can build a filter here which says, have they purchased in the last, 3 days, for example. So since receiving that welcome email, have they made a purchase? So I'm going to drag in that filter rule there. Connect the two together. On the right side, I can build my filter. So obviously, if you'd already had that built, you can select that there. I'm going to create a new one here. So give it a name. So purchased during the welcome. Create that there. What I'm going to do now is just head into that filter and just show you the rules that we have for creating that. So I've got my filter just created there. The edit button. Depending on what database fields you have in the platform, obviously, hopefully you've given us, lots of data around your subscribers, but for this example, I've just got the email address and their last purchase date. So in here, I could do a fixed date, but I'm going to have a rotating date. I'm going to say is going to be custom, and it's going to be no more than 3 days ago. So if they've purchased within that last 3 days, that'll obviously update every day. But yeah, if they've purchased within the last 3 days, they're going to be pulled into that filter. I'm going to save that there, head back into my automation. So if they match that filter, I want them to basically just leave the journey. I want to sort of target them differently. And again, that's where groups comes into play. So I can add in another group action and I can make sure those go into a specific spot, a pot of data essentially where, I can then trigger another automation. I change the content of that email, but yeah, it just allows me to filter them out. So I'm going to again connect those, add in a new group, and we can create a new one, which is essentially they have basically purchased during the welcome journey. So I can give it the same name really. So purchased during the journey. Create that group. And as I said, I want them just to leave the automation here. They're going to be taken and brought into another automation, which is specifically to those that have made a purchase. If they didn't make a purchase after 3 days, we're going to drag in email number 2. So I'm going to connect those two together, choose my second email. That might include a voucher code, for example. And again, I don't want to show that to those that have already made a purchase, only those that haven't. You can also do dynamic content in the platform. So you can, build one email, use it for multiple different subscribers, and you can include a filter in there to say, if they've made a purchase, don't show the voucher code. Otherwise, if they haven't, they see that in the email. So you don't have to spell the journey like this. You could, roll into one if it was just that voucher code you wanted to omit from the email. So after choosing the second email, we're going to drag in another wait time here, and we can wait for another 3 days, for example. And again, I want to add in that filter to say, actually, after that 3 days, did they match that filter to say they've made a purchase? Again, if they did, great, I want them to leave the journey. They're going to receive a completely different automated series of emails now. So again, I can sort of drag in that group action, add them to that group. I might want to create a different group for this one. I'm going to reuse the same one there. And then finally, if they didn't make a purchase, they're going to receive the third email in the welcome series. And they can just receive that again if they haven't made that purchase. So yeah, that's my welcome journey there. So fairly simple, but I've pushed people into groups if they have made that purchase, so I can target them separately later. The last thing to note here is that obviously at the start of this flow, we've added them to a group, which is the new subscriber group. That's being anyone in that group is being removed from any sends whilst they're in that welcome journey. So the last step is to add in that group action again, and we're going to remove them from that group to make sure they can receive emails, our weekly send, for example. So after each sort of time they can leave the journey, I'm going to connect these steps together. I'm going to remove them from a group. I'm going to remove them from that new subscriber group. So I'll do that for the first filter, and then the second one, and also the final email as well. remove them from those groups. And that means, yeah, they can receive the weekly send. Perfect. As I said, you then want to probably go ahead and build your, other automations if they have made a purchase. And as Christian said, you can then sort of change the wording in those emails because they have already made that purchase. It's great. So yeah, I think hopefully that gives you a good idea of how the groups and the filters and the database works.
Fantastic, thank you. If you want to talk more about MailPro, about what it means to kind of be a big sender, but still have this automated approach and allow people to move in and out of those journeys, do request a demo. We can show you the full suite, full platform in action, and how we can kind of tailor that to what you need. If you're already a customer, reach out to your account manager directly. They'd be more than happy to facilitate that conversation. Otherwise, do email contact@spotler.co.uk. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. And yeah, do keep that in mind. How do you want to have this conversation with your contacts as they sign up? And how can you have an approach that allows for an update to their journey as they interact with your brand and with your site, alongside all the massive sends that you're doing? How can you make that feel like a conversation just with them and inform that? Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks all.